Hello everyone. Happy Monday. I hope you've had an incredible weekend, lots of dreams, lots of lucid dreams. And if you have, and you'd like to share, please leave it in the chat. Even regardless of what our topics are about, we always have time to talk about dreams, okay? Zoic, what is up? How's it going? So good to see you guys again. So, today we are diving into some super yummy stuff, some stuff that we can all relate to, and I'm super excited. I feel like a lot of us, all of us, some of us, maybe you as well, have been asking for a change or a level up in some way in your life, whether it's a change from work, just discovering more about who you are, challenging your comfort zone and your fears, whatever it may be. We're going to dive into all of it today and how you can bridge the gap between where you are, where you want to be, and how to feel good regardless of where you are in your journey, because I feel like so often we can forget about all that we've done to get to where we are, and we can just beat ourselves up the entire way. And guess what? If we don't learn another way, we're going to go through our entire lives being overly critical, feeling like we never did enough, feeling like we failed, and then we're going to actually look back on our lives once it's already over and see all that we did do, all that we didn't give ourselves credit for, and realize all the ways that we could have made this life so much of a fulfilling experience, more of a fulfilling experience than we did. So I'm going to dive in with you guys today on some reasons why your manifestations to your desires may not be working. Maybe you feel like you're having a hard time aligning with the desire or the desires or the life that you're creating. No blueberry today. Have orange spice. Ooh, that sounds really lovely. Have you got your tea? Grab your tea. I have just a throat coat one today. I have so many of those. I'm not sure if you've tried that one. I love the lemon echinacea throat coats. They're super nice. Blueberry is always a good choice though. I just barely got done drinking this blueberry ginger kombucha that I got at the farmer's market over the weekend. They do a farmer's market here every weekend, and this is my first time going, and oh my gosh, I'm in heaven. It's so amazing. So many amazing people growing their own products, tons of blueberry stuff. And as you guys know, we always talk about people are sleeping on blueberry. Blueberry is so good, and I don't feel like it gets enough credit. Well, cheers everyone, whether you got your coffee, your tea, your sparkling water, whatever it is, make sure you got something that you enjoy for this talk. And then again, if there's ever something that you relate to or you have a question on, like, shoot it in the chat. I would love to hear your experience. So I recently started a book called The Gap and the Gain, which I've talked to you guys about, and it really opened my mind to how no matter what we accomplish, we feel like we are just failures no matter what. And you know what that does? It creates fear, worry, anxiety, worthiness issues. We'll notice that we just have a hard time showing up to maybe basic tasks that we were able to do before, and we can start this domino effect in the complete opposite way than what we're actually looking for. And just like, we've heard of going on a downhill spiral, we can actually create an uphill spiral in our lives exactly where we're at right now. And so I wanted to chat with you guys a little bit about that today. So I have a question for you. First off, do you live in the gap? I want you to think about this question and maybe ask yourself like what it even means to live in the gap. And most of us do live in the gap. Probably more than like 80% of us live in the gap. And we were taught to live in the gap. Basically, living in the gap is always measuring your success by what's in front of you, where you see yourself going. As soon as you hit a goal, it's on to the next thing in front of you. And we have been programmed to see our success in a linear way and measure it against something that we haven't even achieved yet. Like, we will compare ourselves to other people's success, even though we are completely different people, completely different circumstances, completely different households that we've grown up in, and you have no idea what other people are fighting with behind doors. Someone that you consider perfect, having no problems, I guarantee you they're a completely different person behind the face and that they choose to see, and we all have that side of us, right? But we compare ourselves in a way where there's no evidence that's supporting that person is, number one, more successful than you, but number two, that you're not successful. Like, we're not using the most efficient measurement system. We really think we are, but we're not. Living in the gap is never looking behind you, just always measuring what's next, how far away you are from your next goal, and basing your worthiness, how much you're willing to celebrate yourself, off of where you are now and where you see yourself going. And I'm sure all of us compare ourselves to other people, and that's just part of our natural biology. We had to fit into our tribes in order to survive, right? And so we carry this same level of importance in that way, where we think we won't survive if we don't blend into what everyone else is doing, or if we don't measure up to other people's successes. But what if I told you that living in the gap is actually creating more of a gap between where you are and where you want to go? What if that was actually the thing that was creating the gap? It's so weird. And I'm sure you've had a situation where you feel so anxious. You feel like that impending doom feeling where you can't predict the future. You're starting to freak out. You're trying to plan for just in case something goes wrong, right? But just with a new piece of information brought in, all of a sudden you have a whole different way of seeing that situation. That feeling completely gets changed into something else. And even though nothing changed on the outside, how you processed what was happening, or how you felt, or how you thought about that thing changed. What if I told you success could be the same exact thing? That it wasn't this long path that you had to spend your entire life trying to get to? What if success was actually a mind shift away, and that would actually show up as evidence all around you, just like magic? It's crazy. We don't think, like, even people who don't necessarily believe in synchronicities, or that things can coincidentally, quote unquote, show up for them. When you start to give your brain new evidence, whatever that evidence is, or a thought that your brain thinks is a fact, it will look for that evidence, regardless if it's actually real or not. How crazy is that? Your subconscious mind, its whole entire job is to reaffirm who you think you are, which is then reinstilling this program that we've created, that we tell ourselves this is who we are, and to keep us safe. Your subconscious mind is always going to back you up, regardless if you want it to or not. Let's say that you think that you have bad luck. Maybe you don't want to believe that you have bad luck, but you just think that it shows up everywhere. You're like, I don't even try. Watch, today at some point, something bad's going to happen. If you have that way of seeing the world, guess what? Your subconscious mind is going to do everything that it can to support that way of seeing the world. And guess what? You will find evidence, because that is the power of our subconscious mind. It's not like more evidence just appeared, but it's because we get to choose the lens that we see reality through. And as soon as we change our internal environment, how we see out into our external environment changes. So your subconscious mind is always going to try to find evidence to support what you believe to be true, until you decide that you want to have another belief, and then it will look for that belief. I promise you. And it's super, super crazy. And I'm going to give you a little exercise where you can start to try to play this game with your subconscious and test it out. In just a moment, let me make sure. Okay, so we talked about living in the gap, kind of what that means. And it's not even something that's measurable. Again, if I haven't ever been to that spot, how am I supposed to measure my success from up until this point based on that place that I haven't even been to? So we've actually got the entire thing backwards. Looking at the gap between where we are now and where we want to be, that actually creates an even bigger gap and makes us feel that we're behind. It causes us to self-sabotage. We start to get overly emotional with things that don't even require any effort from us. And because when we start to activate fear and worry, that turns off our logical brain, and we start to become too emotional to even think straight. I'm sure you've heard or someone else say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get upset with you. I just wasn't even thinking." Or I was just so upset that I didn't even have time to think. When we stay in fear and worry in that fight or flight state, we operate that way in our business and our friendships. And this is also why, which I'm sure you've heard, attachment actually causes you to lose that thing. And number one, energetically, it's because it's so out of balance. You're so involved in that thing that it doesn't have room to breathe and operate in a balanced way. And I truly believe in the law of balance. If we pull or try or tug in too far in one direction, it's almost like a pendulum. It has to swing the opposite way, the same amount of force in the opposite way in order to find balance again. You may see this in your life where you feel like, oh, well, if something great happens, something wonderful happens, then that means that something horrible is coming. You know, we have this way of seeing the reality that if something happened, the complete opposite was going to happen. Well, what if I told you if you learn to detach from all these ideas, these preferences, these judgments of how you wanted things to be, it actually feel a lot more balanced and smoothed out because we aren't creating so much resistance from attachment. This is also why if you have maybe a new relationship, for example, and you're kind of feeling insecure about it, you just maybe don't feel like you're worthy of this relationship, or maybe you feel like they're too good for you, or maybe your insecurities are getting in the way, and maybe you think they're doing something behind your back, right? This root of like not trusting and this root of worthiness causes us to actually involve ourselves and self-sabotage the situation, right? Even though most things are going way more fine than our mind lets us believe. But what if I told you that your thoughts, they're not actually true, they're not facts? What if I told you your thoughts were actually conspiracies about the unfolding moment, and based on which ones you emotionalize with and connect to and give energy to, those are the ones that you tell your subconscious, okay, these ones are important, so I need you to replay these ones in my head over and over and over so I can start to prepare for these things and make sure that they never happen. That's where we go wrong, is getting involved with these conspiracies, these thoughts that our mind gives us. And we just go down all of the paths of all of the ones that we are scared are true, when really all of those thoughts, they have no backing behind them, they have no evidence, they have no truth behind them. Your subconscious mind will throw any possible outcome, any conspiracy, any idea, anything that it thinks will help you live a safer life, anything that will help you maybe predict the future a little bit more easily. Well, guess what? If we operated like our mind wanted us to, we wouldn't be happy either. Everything would be super predictable. We would never feel any gratitude, any wins. And guess what? That feeling of being able to predict the whole future and not have to measure our success, that's going to actually create more feelings of worthiness issues, self-doubt, feeling like you're not moving or progressing. Your subconscious mind doesn't know that these challenges are actually what help you feel achievement, because when you overcome them, it's even more proof in the game, looking backwards, it's even more proof that you can handle whatever is coming next, right? We may interact with uncomfortable situations, but those uncomfortable situations are actually what give us those feelings that we're actually after. So, most of us live in the gap, or we have lived in the gap, and we've been trained to live in the gap. And again, the gap is looking forward, seeing where you are now and where you want to be and how far away it is and how much work you have left to do. And oh my God, I've only done this amount of stuff in these 30 years alive. I mean, what if all of that was more than enough too? What if you just being alive here right now, doing your best, was literally all that was required of you? Everything else of all these have tos, or I have to make this much money a month, what if those are just random facts or random things that you chose to believe as facts, or things that you had to do? I tend to do that in work too. Like, I have to make a video by this time and this day, and then I have to do this and this and this, and then I start to get super stressed because I like overcommitted with my schedule, and then I start to feel like I'm failing or I'm not doing enough, or like for some reason I'm lazy because I'm not able to hit all of these things on this list. But really, it would be impossible for a normal person to hit all these things. So the things that make us feel like failures, guess what? Those thoughts most likely aren't even true. Which, guess what? That means that you being a failure, you being behind where you're supposed to be, you not being enough, those things aren't true either. What if you're exactly where you're supposed to be? What if you're ahead where you're supposed to be? And what if I told you you don't need to know all the answers? You shouldn't have all the answers. That kind of takes fun out of the game. What if you could learn to have fun regardless of what the fuck is happening on the outside? Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, we can start to cultivate that way of thinking. We can actually rewire our subconscious mind to be on our side. And you know what I said about finding evidence before? We can actually train our brain to look for evidence of the gain, of all the things we're gaining. We can look for things to celebrate, and they will appear. I promise you they'll appear. Living in the gain creates more gains. So we talked about what the gap is, right? Looking forward, how far you have to go. Oh my God, I still have this and this. I've worked so hard over these past years. Like, how come I feel like I'm not getting anywhere? How come I feel like I'm working and working and working and working for no reason at all? Like, why do I feel like that? What if I told you it's because you haven't stopped to actually celebrate all that you've done? As soon as you hit a goal, you're already looking for the next goal, and your brain doesn't actually know that you hit the goal, because you didn't take a moment to pause, to celebrate it, to state it out loud, to look at what you actually accomplished. What if that's actually what's needed to start living in the gain, so your brain can actually see, oh wow, we did reach the goal. Holy shit. Like, if you're running a race and you don't even stop once you get to the finish line and you just keep going, you're of course going to get burnout, and you're not going to be able to enjoy all that you've achieved to get to this point in your life. Even existing right now, being alive right now is such a privilege. Like, forget about all the little things on your to-do list. You are alive right now on a planet that is so much more lush and lively than we've ever found anywhere. Somehow, the oxygen is at the perfect level to be able to give you the nourishment you need, keep you alive, and not kill you. The sun is the perfect amount of distance away so you don't burn alive or freeze to death. Everything seems to be just right so you can thrive here on Earth. What if I told you it goes deeper than just the specifics of Earth, the chemical makeup of our planet? What if I told you it goes so much deeper into energetics, that you are supported and cared for and guided regardless of whether you see it or not? What if I told you it was going to be okay regardless of what your mind tells you? What you can focus on is supporting yourself. What you can focus on is looking at all that you've gained, and I promise you, your life is going to change when you start looking at the gains in that way. And I'm telling you, everything is a gain. Did you get coffee today? That's a gain. Did you accomplish one single thing off of your to-do list? That's a gain. Hey, maybe you woke up on time. That's gain. Hey, you woke up at all. That's gain, okay? Start to train your brain to see everything as a win. A gain is really just a win, okay? Start to see every single thing as a win. And I'm telling you, I want you to overdo it, because we overdo it in the other way. We are so self-critical. We nitpick at ourselves with everything, every way that we failed. Oh, you shouldn't have said that to this person. You should have said that. It's like every single thing that we could nitpick about ourselves, we do, even if they're not failures. We've trained ourselves to believe that all of these things are things that we failed at. Now it's time to flip the script and start focusing on all of your gains. And I'm telling you, write them out at the end of the day or whenever you want, but I like to visit it every single day. This helps you keep track of all of the little things you're doing during the day to move you forward. And I promise you, if you're not paying attention to the little wins that you have throughout the day, you're not going to be paying attention to the big ones. You're not going to be giving yourself the time and the space that you deserve to actually celebrate your big wins. You won't see any of your wins, and you won't train yourself to see any of your abundance if you don't start at the smallest, most simple, consistent level first. As soon as you wake up, there are wins, there are little miracles, blessings, little fun moments all the time that we just don't see because we've trained ourselves to see through such a cynical lens. And how we are acting in the moment, You want to talk about manifesting. You want to talk about manifesting your reality, the future, how you see the future being. Guess what? This moment was once in the future. We will never be in the future. We will always be in the present moment. So, as soon as you come back into awareness and you realize that, that gives you the power in the now to make whatever you're experiencing a win. And I promise you, if you see something as a win, or maybe something was really fucking hard. Maybe you went through a situation that was super difficult. Maybe it was traumatizing. Maybe you totally felt like it was a fail, right? It's still a way to integrate that and move forward without it replaying in your head for years and years and years to come. You know what that is? It's finding the lesson in it. You're either going to find the gain in that experience or the lesson. And guess what? If you found a lesson, you received a gain from the experience. The lesson is going to show your brain what went well, what didn't, and how we can handle this differently in the future. If you learn something from an experience, it's not wasted. And you wouldn't want to go back and take that experience back, right? You wouldn't regret it because you got something valuable out of it that's actually supporting your future and where you're meant to go. And what if that's the exact thing that you were supposed to get from that experience? Was that lesson, that gain, right? And again, I really recommend when you go through a difficult situation, allow yourself to write out what happened, how you felt, how you handled it, and the lesson that you got from it. And I promise you that is enough to integrate the emotions that you felt, the experience, the thoughts that you had, and it won't imprison you and control the next situations you have when you run into something similar. Finding the lesson or the gain in the experience allows you to take what you learned and let it go. And that is a big part of creating the life you want, is detaching, right? And that's actually my next point. Ask yourself, where are you holding on too tightly to your desire? Because as much as we want something, the more we hold on to it, it's actually strangling that thing, and it gives it no room to breathe. And I tell you, I know it's hard to let go of something, to detach from something that you truly care about. Something that feels like it's connected to either your safety, your financial security, your self-worth, a beautiful friendship that you have, whatever it is. I know how difficult it can be to let go, but what if I told you that detaching from it actually brings it closer to you? Like, when you really think about that, if you really do desire that thing, then you would be doing yourself a favor by detaching the hold that it has on you. If this doesn't happen, then I'm not going to be okay. If this happens, then there's no way I'm going to survive. If we're telling ourselves these thoughts, even though they're not true, right? Like, we will be okay if this thing didn't happen. Your subconscious mind doesn't know that it's not complete facts that you're saying. If you say, if this doesn't happen, I can't handle this, think about what I can't handle this means, actually. Your brain's going to be like, well, what happens if we can't handle it? Am I going to die? Like, what happens if I can't handle it? You need to be careful with how you are speaking to yourself, because again, your subconscious mind is always listening, and your subconscious mind is taking what you say at face value. If you say you cannot handle an experience, your mind is going to completely freak out. Because again, it thinks that you're talking about your literal survival. And even if you are scared of a situation, even if there is something that makes you nervous, notice how talking about it differently changes how it actually feels in your body. Saying, I can handle this. Of course I can handle this. I can absolutely handle whatever happens. All of a sudden you feel stronger. You feel more capable. You feel more confident. Even if you don't necessarily believe it, just saying, I can handle this, instead of I can't handle this, doesn't that feel so different in your body? Energetics are totally real, and I want you to start practicing. If there's ever a situation where you're super anxious, maybe you have a test, maybe you are giving a public talk or something, your brain does not know the difference between fear and excitement. So you can actually use this to your advantage to generate a new thought with that intense feeling in your body and turn it into excitement. So anytime you feel you are scared, you are anxious, you are worried, I want you to say out loud that you are excited and give yourself one reason why you're excited. Find the gain in the experience. And what if that's our only job as we move through life, is to do our best and to find the gain or the lesson in each of our experiences? What if that's all? And what if that actually led you to everything that you truly desire? And as you continue to walk with these feelings, acknowledge how you feel and know that you can handle it, you will build more confidence over time, you will build more momentum, you'll build more experience, and it will just get easier. The more you learn to walk with how you feel and to honor how you feel. It's okay to be scared. It's okay not to be able to predict the future. Guess what? Nobody can. We're all worried about the same shit, and we all think that we're in our own little world and that we are so excluded from everybody else that something's wrong with me. Why do I have these fears? I've already addressed this with myself. Why do I have to keep revisiting this wound or this thought or this belief? Guess what? That's a that's a lifetime game. And that's where we all are. That's where we're all at. Okay, so that's another thing that's going to help you dissolve that fear, is neutralizing it. Of course I feel this. This is a very normal feeling to feel. Anybody feels nervous or scared in a situation they've never been in before. Neutralize the feeling in your body so your brain doesn't think that there's something wrong with you because you're having human emotions. So, again, determine if you're living in the gap. Start looking for the gain and tracking all of your wins. Look at where you're holding on too tightly to your desire and the outcome that you want, because again, that creates self-sabotage that actually pushes that thing farther away from us. And start looking for evidence that things are working out for you, and you will find it. Now, here's the game I wanted to tell you about. This is something that I have done for like basically ever. And it is proof that what we focus our awareness on, our spotlight, that is what we start to see all around us. And there are ways that you can prove this to yourself, because our brains can be like, oh, that's bullshit. Actually, that's not true, okay? And that's where your mind can go against you, right? It's wanting evidence that what you're saying is true. There's something that supports what you say, right? And guess what? You can absolutely prove it to yourself just by generating thoughts that support that. So this game is just going to be a little, it's a way to activate the reticular activating system part of your brain. And this is basically the part of your brain that looks for evidence. So throughout the day, maybe starting today, I want you to choose one very specific shape, item, image, whatever it is. And I want you to start looking for that throughout the day. Maybe it's just a naturally occurring heart shape. That's a great one to start with. Maybe before bed, you are going to look for a naturally occurring heart shape in nature. It can be anywhere, right? But you're going to set the intention that that's what you're looking for. And then you're going to keep your awareness open. And you're going to affirm, before I go to bed, I'm going to find a naturally occurring heart shape somewhere. And then just keep on the lookout. Keep your awareness open, and I promise you will find what you're looking for. And then it will feel like you're being bombarded with this heart shape literally all around. It's not that there were more heart shapes all of a sudden just magically appearing. It's because you changed the lenses you were looking through. You changed the thought that you were generating in your mind, and you chose a new thing you want to look for evidence for, right? If you're looking for evidence that you have anxiety, guess what? Everything's going to make you anxious. You're going to find anxiety in all the places that you never expected, right? And even though anxiety is a natural part of being a human, we can tend to make ourselves feel all of these emotions amplified and for way longer, because number one, we haven't learned how to process an emotion. And number two, we don't know the power that we actually have to create the thoughts and the feelings running in our body, right? So I want you to start training your mind to look for this specific thing out in the world. And if you want to get even more specific, eventually I had to get more specific because I'm like, you know what? I want to come up with some sort of image that's so specific that I will know that my mind created it. And that's another thing that's going to build this confidence, is playing with reality in this way. You can play games with the universe, right? You don't have to be a victim to your environment. You can have fun with wherever you're at, because guess what? We're here for a limited amount of time. And all of the things that we're worried about doing, stressed about doing, guess what? None of them are going to matter one day. No one's going to know who we are. Who knows, maybe my YouTube channel is just going to turn into dust one day. And we have to be fine with that, number one. And we have to have fun with it, because that's the only thing we're truly going to remember from our experiences, is how we felt through this journey. But I wanted to get more specific and play with the universe. So I came up with the image of a pink elephant. And I think I've told you guys about this, but I'm telling you, once I set that and I just let it out to the universe, okay, I set my intention. Now let's see what we can do. And you let go. Do you notice that? You set your intention, you have what you desire in the forefront of your mind, and then you release control. You leave it up now to the universe and you stay open. That's how we can manifest. You are clear on your desire. You align with what you want to see. You detach from it, and you stay open. And you stay open to the opportunities that bring you closer to that, to the people, and you just have fun with it. Guess what? We're allowed to do that. Isn't that so crazy? No one told us. But this pink elephant, and I'm telling you, this has been my thing for like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, this pink elephant, maybe longer. I remember when I was first going on a solo trip with my friend, and I've told you guys about the experience driving all through Oregon, Washington, California. That's actually the trip that showed me where I'm supposed to go, Washington. And that was the trip that actually started me working on manifesting getting here. So it's kind of cool how it's all coming around. But I remember we stopped at some like Native American shop or whatever, and I was telling her about the pink elephant, because I was talking to her about this game that I play with the universe. And right after that, and I did tell her, before we get to my house, we will see some sort of pink elephant somewhere. And we set the intention, we let it go. We're in the store, we're looking through tons of like crystals and stones, and I'm looking down at them, and she just gasps super loud, and she's like, "Haylee, look up." And right here, I was looking at the lower shelf, right here is a pink elephant. I can't remember exactly what stone it was. It was like a pink jasper or something. And it was a pink elephant staring me right in the face. And isn't that a funny, like, metaphor for life? How what we're looking for a lot of the time is right in front of us if we can just, like, step back a little bit and relax, right? And I got it, of course. And all of a sudden, I started to see pink elephants everywhere. In videos. I would be watching something and people would just be like, "Oh, let's just say the pink elephant." They would just use pink elephant as an example as they were talking. I got home one day, it was maybe a couple days later after she already left, and I was looking at my wall and I just gasped super loud, because on my wall I had a tapestry of Ganesha, the Hindu god, pink elephant, on my wall the whole time, even before I went on the trip. And it's so funny that after that is when I was trying to manifest seeing a pink elephant. It was in my house the entire time, for years, on my wall. And I think it's so interesting how magic all of a sudden comes to life when we believe in it, when we trust and we let go and we don't think we have to control so much. What if I told you you'd actually live a way happier life, you'd be more abundant, and you'd have more fulfilling relationships if you just let go and you focused on how you're feeling? Because really that's the quality of our life, is how we feel through our life, right? We're going to have tons of experiences. We're going to have ones that we love, we're going to have ones that we hate, we're going to have ones that are like, whatever, But that's really what makes the beautiful recipe of this experience, right? But what you can control is how you perceive those experiences and how you feel through them. They can all be fun, right? We're not going to get into, I was going to say, this is your first time on Earth, but there's going to be some people watching this that is like, is it? I was going to say, seeing every experience like it is your first day on Earth, I guarantee you will make everything so much more fun, and you'll see a side of yourself that you didn't even know was there. the moment you start playing with the universe, it will start playing back. I promise you, you are not a victim to your environment. We were taught this to take away our power, but I'm telling you, it all starts with your inner environment. It has nothing to do with what's outside of you. And if it's outside of you, guess what? You don't even have to worry about controlling that because it's going to have nothing to do with you anyways. So look for evidence that things are working out for you and you'll find it. And again, really see the power of your thoughts. I'm telling you, there are days where I would wake up feeling anxious. Like the other day, I was anxious to call the IRS to set up a payment plan. And my mind was like getting so anxious about calling the IRS. Oh my gosh, it's going to take forever to get on the phone with them. They still haven't set up my account online, so I can't see my balance, blah, 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 blah. And all morning, I was so anxious about making this call to the IRS. And so I was like, you know what? I can definitely handle this, number one. And number two, brain, I'm going to show you how easy this is actually going to be. It's way easier than we think. I called. They never answered. I just tried logging in on my site. Wow, all the information actually updated, and I was able to set up the payment plan by myself without talking to anybody. Once whatever we were worrying about is over, we realize how much time we wasted, right? Like, there's days where I've wasted hours and hours and hours being anxious about something that took maybe 5 minutes and it went totally fine. Why do we do this to ourselves? I'm telling you, over time, with being aware that this is happening and like, again, speaking up when something was easier or choosing a new thought when you notice your thought is really based on fear. Like, I'm telling you, the switch will immediately manifest. It will immediately change your day. And again, if you're anxious, say you're excited. I'm excited to call the IRS actually because I know this is what I need to do to support my income, my business, and I'm happy that I can even call the IRS on my own. Hey, I've got my own phone. That's pretty cool too. There's so many little wins that we just get used to that we think are ridiculous to celebrate ourselves over. Why? Who said? Who said you can't celebrate all of the little things that you run into throughout the day? I saw a penny outside and I picked it up and ran to me and Chance were leaving the grocery store and he went ahead of me and I found a little penny and I picked it up and I ran, Chance, look what I found. And he's so used to it too. We're celebrating all of these random little wins all the time, like regardless of what it is. And that gets to be how life is. We're so critical and think everything is in the gap, like we're so used to gap thinking that we don't realize how much abundance is surrounding us and how safe we actually are. Even if things change a little bit, which that's one thing that's guaranteed is change in our environments, in our bodies, our relationships. Like, if we can just expect there to be a mystery and we get to find out what it is with the rest of humanity, and it's okay, like, regardless of what happens, it gets to be fun. I promise you, your worry will dissolve. Your self-doubt will dissolve. If you address the fear, if you become aware of the fear, not try to push it down, but actually take time to look at what your fears are, you'll notice a lot of them don't even make sense. Like this morning, I wrote down my fears in my journal. I write all the time, especially if I feel like that bit of, I'm sure you know that pit of anxiety in your stomach. You wake up, you feel like you have an upset stomach, like you just feel this intense like heaviness throughout the day, and you have little thoughts that are trying to get to you, right? You have little thoughts that are trying to tell you what's wrong. I'm really scared for this and this, and you're like, we don't have time for this right now. I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to think about it. It continues to build, doesn't it? That anxiety continues to build. That voice gets louder until you may notice it's like your anxiety pops eventually. It's literally like it overflows. We went too long with missing the signals from our inner self, and now we just feel so anxious that it's almost hard to backtrack and just find that peace with correcting our thought, right? Your body will tell you when something's out of balance, and a lot of the time it's just the way that we're seeing something. A lot of the times there's nothing that's gone wrong. It's just our way of thinking that it has. And I promise you, even if something feels super wrong that happened, that's your challenge. If it's not easy, then make it a challenge to find the gain in your experience, because that is actually what's going to help you live and experience a life of gains. And it's what's going to help you feel like you're in the gain, because you are. You're here. Like, You are amazing for even being here right now, for even caring about your growth, for even watching a video or a live stream like this. You know you care about yourself. You know you care about your growth and where you're going. And I think it's amazing that you care, because there's a lot of people that don't care, right? So that's a win. Celebrate yourself for caring so much about where you are, where you're going, and your safety. But tell your brain, I know that I'm okay. We don't need to have all of the answers. No one has all of the answers. And I know that I can handle everything that's coming to me. Everything comes to me at the exact time with the level of information that I have to handle it. Like, the universe is so much more intelligent than we give it credit for. And hasn't everything worked out? We're so worried about things not working out. Have things worked out up until this point? I mean, you're here, right? In one way or another. I mean, let's look at the gains here. Let's look at our experience up until this point. I mean, we're so much safer in our experience than we believe that we are. Our mind, again, if you're just getting here, one of the biggest things that helped me disconnect from my mind is our thoughts are random conspiracies about the moment, because your mind has no idea what's happening. Your mind can't predict the future, right? And so your mind is giving you a million things that it could be. Or a million, it's like if you're writing a book and your mind decided to give you a million plots to the storyline that you could use. Not one is more important than the other, not one is more true than the other. They're just potentials. Guess how many potentials are in every single moment? Trillions. You know how long you'd be sitting there thinking if you were trying to predict every single outcome that could happen? So why drive yourself insane? What if I told you you could have way more fun in life than you're actually having? And it'd be okay. A lot of the things we stress about, like, oh my god, someone invited me to go hang out tonight, but I really don't feel like going. And I just feel stressed because I don't want them to think that I hate them, but I feel guilty, but I really don't feel like I go because I'm feeling anxious. We overthink things so hard. And then guess what? That person bails because they're like, oh, sorry, I had an appointment that I totally forgot about. Oh, guess what? That totally worked out. And guess what? You were spending hours and hours worrying when it all worked out just fine. Or maybe you did have to tell your friend, hey, sorry, I can't come tonight. And they're like, oh, no worries. And that was it. Oh my god, you thought it was going to go way worse, right? And so you had all of this fear, this worry that had nowhere to go. And then once the experience actually ended, you're like, oh, yeah, I guess it was okay, right? What if you could skip that middle part of fear of uncertainty and just assume that it's okay? What if you're allowed to assume that things are going to work out for you? And what if that assumption actually leads to that outcome more seamlessly without as much effort? Maybe any effort. I'm telling you, if you haven't looked into Taoism, it's like the practice of non-action. It's just being. And again, Michael Singer talks about this a lot. Our minds are neurotic. Our minds, what our thoughts are all around, it has nothing to do with what we're capable of. It has nothing to do with what's going to happen. It has nothing to do with the things that we have learned. Our subconscious mind isn't taking any of that into account, right? So it's our job to let go. And if you notice yourself obsessing about something, maybe you start to overthink, notice it, right? Become aware that you are thinking. Again, you're the one who witnesses the thoughts. If we believe that we're the ones thinking, then we're going to beat ourselves up about it. Oh my god, why do I keep thinking this? Please stop. If this is me thinking, why can't I control it? Guess what? Because it's not you. You're the one that's aware of it. That's why your mind's thinking even when you aren't even present of it, and you just realize, oh wow, I was doing the dishes and I was running through a billion conspiracy theories about this one situation that isn't even true, right? We notice when our minds are experiencing a disturbance, or even our bodies, right? But we're not the one controlling or inducing that experience. So next time you notice a disturbance, and you know what I mean by disturbance, whether it is a thought that won't stop going, maybe someone said something that really upset you and you can't stop thinking about it, maybe it's something you did in a situation where you maybe had like an awkward moment when talking to someone in person and you just like couldn't let it go. Notice it, step back in the thought, and you're going to notice that the mind is doing it on its own. You're going to notice all this energy in the mind, right? Don't feed into it, because again, it's conspiracy theories. It has no basis in reality. You're the witness. You're observing this, and you're relaxing into it, and you're releasing it. Now, what do I mean by relaxing? You know, when you are thinking these thoughts or you're in worry, you're tensing your shoulders, your jaw, your belly, and you can't sit still in the moment. Like, if you're anything like me, like when I'm feeling super anxious or something, I kind of have a hard time just like relaxing and sitting still. I'll try to scroll through my phone sometimes. I'll start trying to like do something with my hands, and I have to make myself just relax for a moment. I promise you, giving yourself those 2 minutes could potentially save you years of repeating the same situation in your head and in your body over and over. This is truly how you feel a feeling. And that's why so many of us have so many emotions that we don't even understand, is because we didn't feel those feelings in the moment that we had them. So now that they're still stuck in the body and they're coming up, they're now confusing because we're out of the situation where they actually got stored in. And so now we're confused why we're feeling all of these feelings. And so yeah, emotions are going to be confusing, especially when you just start listening to yourself. You start becoming aware of everything that's already going on. It's going to be confusing. Shit from when you were 7 years old is going to come up. Stuff from yesterday is going to come up. Maybe the mailman gave you an awkward look and you were thinking about it all night and you're like, oh my God, he probably thought I was a freak. All of this, it's all stored in your body in the same way, whether it's big or small, whether how we see it or not, like it all needs to come out, okay? And what you can do is relax into it. Relax into it like you want to feel it. You know how I told you before that oftentimes we resist emotions and that's what actually causes them to get stuck? Because we don't feel them in the moment when we have them? Well, what if you almost taught yourself that you wanted to feel these emotions? What if when you felt anxious, you decided that you want it to be that way because you want to feel what's coming up? What if you stopped running away from anxiety or discomfort and you saw it as something like, ooh, there's discomfort again. Okay, let me dive into it. Like, you're looking for it because it excites you, because you know what's on the other side of that anxiety, that disturbance when you feel it. Like, what if you saw it in that way? There's no reason to run away now. There's no reason to suppress. There's no reason to hide. What if you just allowed yourself to experience everything that was coming up? Hello, anxiety. I see that you are coming up again. It feels like a very intense tightness in my belly. I feel tightness in my chest. Even though it's uncomfortable feeling this in my body, I honor how I feel, because I love myself enough to pay attention to what needs to be addressed. You can say whatever you want, but the thing is, becoming aware of it and talking to yourself as you're feeling something is going to allow yourself to be seen by you. You know how when you're upset, you like want validation or comfort from somebody because you want to feel witnessed, you want to be seen, and that helps you process a feeling? Did you know that you could do that for yourself? We just haven't learned how. So next time you feel fear, next time you feel anxiety, you can call it out, right? That's you not resisting what's happening or running away from what's happening. You're empowering yourself in the moment that this is happening. So you're calling out what you're feeling. And again, we've talked about how to feel a feeling. I pulled out the feelings wheel on the live stream before. If you have the feelings wheel, you can totally pull that out and discover which feeling you're actually feeling. Or you can just state the symptoms of it. How does this exact feeling you're feeling right now feel in your body? I'm telling you, this is the way to integrate and release an emotion. And you're going to stay with it as long as it's there, and you're going to totally allow yourself to feel it fully. And it may feel uncomfortable for a second, but you're going to meet another version of yourself that makes feeling your feelings and doing this work exciting. You're no longer going to feel fear. You're going to feel empowered and excited when this work comes up, right? And so again, if I ever feel anxiety, a lot of the times before I would, okay, let me distract, let me work, let me do this. Now, maybe I lay down, I get on the floor, and I just lay my head back, spread my arms out, and I fully feel the feeling in my belly. It's almost like I try to dive my awareness into the discomfort. You know what's weird? Once I try to do that, it's almost like I can't find it. It's almost like I gave it so much space to express that it worked through me without me having to do anything about it. Did you know this is how it gets to be? This is how it gets to be. And once you start to build this intelligence inside your physical body and you let yourself know that it's okay for this shit to come up because you're actually the person now who can support yourself through it, you're going to feel so much more safe in your body. You won't now have to sit with emotions and feelings for days, weeks, years. Like, they will be able to almost work their way through you on their own because you've created such a strong supportive frame and awareness that now, since you've been practicing becoming aware of thoughts and emotions that work their way up, it's now like you don't even have to think about it. You can witness it in the seat of self and choose if you're going to interact with a thought or let it go. And again, they're just conspiracy theories. You don't have to grab onto them, right? Feelings are the same way. You don't have to grab onto them, but you want to give them space to do what they need to do. And I promise you, our bodies, our energy fields, our mind is so much more intelligent than we give credit for. I promise you don't need to involve your conscious mind to align with who you are, to shed who you were. I promise it will do it on its own if you don't interrupt the process. That's where we've gone wrong, is because we don't know how to not interrupt it. By awareness, relaxing, and releasing. And again, if you have like specific fears, like I'm scared to call the IRS, if you're like me and you sometimes get nervous calling big bad financial institutions or like weird things like that, then write out your fears on paper. This shows your brain, I see you, I witness you, I hear you, and I'm listening to you. And I'm going to pay attention to what you're saying. So you're going to write out each of your fears, right? I'm scared to do this. I'm worried that I'm not enough. I'm scared that my business will fail randomly down the road. I'm scared that people will stop caring about my videos. Whatever the fear is, write them all down, allow them all to be seen, and then you can go through them and you can determine, first of all, is this even useful or is this true? And some of the fears you write down, they won't even make sense. Like I said, you're gonna be like, okay, I can let that one go. Now that I wrote it down, I can see it for what it actually is because it's not spinning in my head. Once it's on paper, I can actually see what the fear is, and then I can choose if it's useful or not, right? And maybe you do have little fears that could have a solution. That's what you're going to do for your brain. You're going to give each one of those little fears that do make sense, you're going to give them each a little solution. And you're going to realize that you can handle a lot more than you think you can. You can handle every single thing, in fact, that is making its way up through your mind. You can handle every single situation that you've been through, that you're going through, and that you will go through. And you can see that once you actually write down your biggest worries on paper, you realize that they're not as big, bad, and scary as you thought. And really, your brain just wanted to know that you see it, that you're aware of it, and that we're okay. Because again, your brain's job is to help you survive. And if we're not paying attention to these little whispers from the brain, like, hey, so I'm kind of worried about this situation, is it okay or not? Like, if we continue to avoid those feelings, especially if we emotionalize with them but don't address them, our brain's gonna be like, oh shit, like, we need to be in fight or flight. Like, I'm not getting any feedback if we're safe or not, you know? And so it's all just down to not giving ourselves the awareness or space to feel. Like, a lot of the time we think that just ignoring these things is going to push them down. Guess what? You're creating way more work for yourself later. Just get in the habit of being willing to listen. And I promise you, not only are you going to feel better, you're going to feel more peace, you're going to feel more confident, your relationships are going to go better because you're not sitting in your mind thinking about things that you could have said years and years and years ago. You're going to be more present. You're going to see more abundance around you. You're going to not only see more abundance, you're going to truly experience abundance on a much deeper level than you have before. And the only things we've talked about are things you can do in your inner environment on how to handle what's coming to you. I didn't say there's anything you have to go do. There isn't anything you have to go find. There isn't any homework for you to do on this call. It's just a different way to handle what is coming to you when it comes to you. That's all. And of course, getting clear on what you love, what you're passionate about, what means a lot to you. And I promise you, the universe knows a lot more than you think it does. It knows exactly what you desire. And I promise you, especially if you affirm this, the universe will bring me what I want, if not greater. A lot of the time, what our biggest desires are, we're still in a limited reality. Like maybe you think that all you can make is $2,000 a month, and so you only focus on $2,000 a month. Guess what? There's way more abundance for everybody. I promise you, we've been programmed to think differently, but what if you can make quadruple that in half the amount of time that you thought you could? This is what I mean by thinking bigger, dreaming bigger, allowing yourself to play in the realm of infinite potential. And guess what? When you start thinking in that bigger way, you know how I told you your brain's always looking for solutions? If you start dreaming and thinking in a bigger way, your brain is going to start thinking about bigger ideas for solutions on actually how to get up there. If you're always setting your bar super low, you're not giving yourself the opportunity to show who you truly are or what you're capable of. You're not giving yourself the space to expand and be that bigger version of yourself, because even in your biggest desires, they're still very limited because it's out of scarcity or fear or worthiness. Maybe you don't think that you're worthy of more. What if the key to actually quadrupling your desire was just working on your worthiness? What if just expanding and softening your energy, the energetic container that abundance comes through, what if that allows you to receive and maintain more than you ever thought, because you created the person, the frame that can support that new level of abundance? So start playing with bigger possibilities for your life and notice when your thoughts and feelings act up. That's where the work is. That is where the work is. I want you to dream and imagine so big for your future that all of a sudden you now notice limitations coming up. Oh, well, I can't do that because of this. Thank you. Got it. That's exactly what I'm looking for. We're looking for those thoughts. I want you to aim so high for your future that you have limitations come up. You have uncomfortable feelings coming up, because you know what that means? It means you're expanding your comfort zone, you're playing in a different realm, and now your brain gave you all of the reasons why you can't do it, and guess what? Those are just beliefs you get to rewrite. That's it. So your brain, that's where we actually think our brain's not helping us, is by telling us, oh, well, I can't do this because this and this and this. Guess what? It gave you a to-do list. It just gave you a to-do list of how to work through your blocks to get to that big level that you didn't even think about dreaming of before. I'm telling you, you have all of the answers. And once you start believing you have all the answers, all the right answers will come out. It's super insane. When I say we live in a world of infinite potential, I literally mean that. The moment you start seeing yourself as a different person, you start acting like a different person, you start feeling like a different person. The moment you start dreaming of those bigger ideas and seeing yourself as someone who can accomplish those things and live a life surrounded by those things, you're going to start getting more money-making ideas. You're going to start meeting people and coming in contact with opportunities that, weird, all of a sudden align with that bigger dream that you've set for yourself. I'm telling you, miracles, blessings, magic becomes reality when you believe that it is. It is literally written in the universe. We can see this through all stages of time, even like the biggest inventions. Did you know the sewing machine, the periodic table, those came from a dream? Like things that have completely changed and shifted our entire reality came from a dream. Came from a dream. Whether it's a dream at night, a dream, an idea that you chose to think, that's where the biggest, most abundant ideas come from, is from in here. So start to work with what's in there. And again, you don't need to find these abundant ideas. You don't need to find your worthiness. You don't need to find peace. You need to uncover what is blocking it. And by creating clarity on your desires, the work will come to you. Just make sure not to push it away. Make sure to get your notebook out, get your pen out, and I promise you, the moment you start writing out your thoughts, you start choosing who you want to be, what you want to believe, who that version of you is that thinks, acts, and feels in the most abundant, aligned way for you. Like the moment you start thinking from that place, your thoughts will shift, those worries will soften, and that confidence, that version of you that you try so hard to connect to, it will be louder than any other voice in your head. And I promise you, this all starts from learning to live in the game. I promise you. And again, we are on this journey together. If you have wins to share, and you're not in the Telegram community, join the Telegram community even just for that, and because I want to be able to celebrate you, I want to be able to support you, I want to be able to see you for where you're at, because if we surround ourselves with more people like that, I promise you, your abundance will be amplified, your confidence will be amplified. And if you're like me, sometimes I've worried about running out of ideas. We limit ourselves by listening to this subconscious, this mind that we have. It cannot understand the idea of infinite space. You can even test this when you think about how the universe goes on forever. Like if you just went up, off planet Earth and just into the universe, and you just kept going and going and going and going for thousands and thousands of years, it would keep going. Our brains can't comprehend that, right? And that's true. So don't listen to your mind if it can't comprehend you living in an infinite universe with infinite potential. Just start believing that it's true. We all know that we have an imagination. We all have creativity we can use. And what if I told you what you choose to believe to be true will actually come true to you? Again, the goal is not to have this amount of money or to have this relationship. You want to be that person that can not only attain, maintain, and thrive in a reality where those are true. You don't care about the actual money in your bank account. You care about how you feel on the inside when thinking about that reality. Cultivate that now. If you cultivate your inner environment now, your reality, your biggest desires will have no choice but to find their way to you. That's how magnetism works. I promise you that your belief, what you have in here, is a machine that not many know how to use, but it creates absolute magic, and there is nothing outside of you that you have to change to get everything that you want. So, last thing. Oh, again, keep track of your wins and call them out all day. I'm telling you, keep track of your wins. Look them. You have a wins notebook. Have a wins notebook where at the end of the day, you track all of your little wins, all your big wins, all of your wins. And then underneath, maybe you choose 3 goals for the next day. And then again, you only have those 3. And again, don't set more than 3 goals for a day, because we want to be able to not set ourselves up for failure. And so often we overfill our schedule. We overfill our to-do list, and it actually is a self-sabotaging behavior. Set 3 maximum big goals for the following day, and checking those off that list is going to feel so good. And once you clear off that checklist you've set for yourself, you're going to build this momentum where you're like, you know what? I've got time. I can do more. And what are you doing? You're just multiplying your wins because you celebrated the wins you already had. Celebrating the little wins you already set for yourself opened up a door for so many more new wins. That's how this works, and I want you to see the domino effect. So keep track of all your wins and call them out throughout the day. And the last thing I have here is when a synchronicity comes in, to claim it. Don't brush it off. So often we're like, oh, that's a coincidence. I had nothing to do with that. And we're putting ourselves in that limiting universe where we're telling ourselves that there's no way that we can influence our experience on what appears to be outside of us. If you see a synchronicity and you're like, I so called that out, I saw that coming, what you're doing is you're increasing the amount of awareness that you have in your reality. And again, you're looking for even more gains. If you see a synchronicity come in that had something to do with what you were talking about or what you were doing or what you said was going to happen, call it out loud, state it and claim it, because that shows you how powerful you are. And each of those experiences will stack, and you will just become an absolute powerhouse that not only thrives and lives, can create the life of your dreams, but you also inspire others to do the same. And just like we can amplify our gains and we can stack our gains, we can also do that for the people around us if we follow the crazy life that doesn't seem possible at all, but guess what? It is, because it was made for me and I'm the person that can create that. The moment you start solidifying that confidence, people will start to see magic happening all around you and wonder how you did it. And this is how you're doing it. Okay, guys, I'm telling you, I felt so inspired to talk about this because it's it's much more of a simple process than we believe. And so often with like manifesting or aligning to our desires, we think it's so many things we gotta like do. Oh, I gotta like bring up my entire childhood and, you know, do all this shadow work to even like be able to achieve anything. The work that comes up is the work you need to do. You don't have to worry about going back into the deepest parts of your childhood. The work will come up. The work that needs to be done will come up. And that's why you can just enjoy your life and let go of what isn't coming up, right? Because what needs to come out and be expressed and integrated will come out. You just need to be the one who is aware and allows that process to happen. Again, awareness, relax and release, and really focus on counting all of those gains, those wins. And I promise you, it will change your life immediately. It will start to change your life. So again, if you guys aren't in the Telegram group, please feel free to join us over there. Again, if there's any updates to the live stream or content or anything, I'll post it in there. And then we're just kind of chatting, hanging out until our next live stream. You know, I want to be able to support you guys. I want to hear about your biggest dreams. I want to hear about your nighttime dreams too, and your beautiful magical experiences that you're having in this lifetime, because that's all that we're really carrying out with us, is the experiences that we had and how we felt along the journey. And I'm telling you, you are so much safer than we've been taught. You're so much more brilliant than we've been taught. Really, when we were children, we believed that anything was possible, and then eventually, parents started being like, well, within reason, and our light started to dull down. What if I told you how you originally thought as a child is how the universe operates? Bring that part of yourself back. Your inner child is just waiting to create for you. Your inner child has so many creative, beautiful, fun, playful ideas of how you can live a more fulfilling life. And again, the moment you start just opening up with your awareness, practicing sitting in the seat of self throughout your thoughts, throughout whatever emotions come up, you will also be present for those ideas, those aha moments, those synchronicities, they're like anxiety attacks, but the complete opposite. They're like gratitude attacks, bliss attacks. You will just start to feel your heart pouring out so much love because you stopped covering up your natural state. Abundance is your birthright. What if I told you the universe gets to be our sugar daddy, okay? What if believing that allowed us to have that fun, playful, abundant experience? Abundance is not limited like we were taught. I promise you. It's that belief that makes it so, okay? And I just want to say hello. I haven't talked to the chat at all. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. We've got a lot of friends in here. What's up, Zoic, Matthew, John? Yes, what is up? Eric, how's it going? Becky's World, Vincent, Flyflow. What is up, guys? How's it going? Yep, law of assumption. Tiffany, the law of assumption is so powerful. Neville Goddard, he's one of my favorite philosophers, authors, and he has lots of books. I would definitely check him out. But he has one called The Feeling is the Secret. And how we feel in our body actually is what creates the next moment. It's crazy because our feelings, a lot of the time, we get so stuck in the future and the past, and that's why we feel that just intense bit of worry, frustration, maybe like our accounts are negative and we just feel this pit in our stomach. And trust me, I have been there. I have so been there, okay? And sometimes it can be really hard to shift out of fear and scarcity. So again, it does take, a little bit of awareness, but it's so much easier than even you think, I promise. And a little hack to get us into that state of abundance is by focusing on gratitude. Now, the reason why gratitude does that is because when you're grateful for something, it's the energy of having received something. And so you're really harnessing the power of energetics here when you do this. And you'll notice at first, like, maybe you're having just a shit day and like you don't want to think about what there is to be grateful for, and you just want to like sleep or like play games or whatever it is. And like everybody has those days, right? But like when you just have yourself write down a few things, okay, well, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for my bed, I'm grateful for my dog. All of a sudden you think of a couple more things you don't want to leave out. Oh yeah, I'm grateful for this, and oh yeah, I like this tree in my backyard. You know what I'm really grateful for? This. And it just keeps going. I'm telling you, whatever soundtrack of thoughts you decide to go down is what world's gonna open up. So if you decide to go down the soundtrack of fear, guess what? You're opening up the potential of all of the things you could fear. If you go down the soundtrack of humor, you're like, I want to laugh, dude. I haven't laughed super hard since I was a kid. Like, now all of a sudden, you're finding people that make you laugh, things that make you laugh, like you're making yourself laugh. I'm telling you, wherever your spotlight of awareness is the world that's going to open up. It's the door that is going to open up. So, and guess what? We have control over where our spotlight is. And if we're ever in a situation where we're like, oh, this sucks, I don't like this person, I don't want to go to work, I don't like this, just ask yourself the moment you notice, where's my spotlight right now? Where's my spotlight right now? And you will be able to shift it. Again, the power is in the present moment because we're so focused on like the future, which guess what? Now is the future. This moment is creating the future. And so the biggest thing I'd say for that like helped me kind of have clarity on how I should act or feel or think in situations when I'm like learning to rewire my brain is just getting really clear on the version of me that I want to be. So like, who is the version of you that you super desire to be? Like, how is that way of thinking different than how you think now? Like, think about your ideal self. Think about it as an actual person. How old are you? Where do you work? Where do you live? What kind of clothes do you wear, in this ideal reality? What's your diet like? And a lot of us haven't thought that far. A lot of us are like, I don't know. I don't even really know what I want, And how are we supposed to get clarity and start to create opportunities around what we want if we're not even clear on that? That's what the universe is waiting for, by the way. The universe is waiting for you to get clear so it can actually start to open the door, create the path that you desire to go down. But never think that you're late. That's another thing I believe that what is for us can't miss us. So even if you feel like, oh my God, I didn't realize that I was holding on to this fear the whole time and that's what's kept me stuck, guess what? You discovered it in just the perfect time. You were meant to discover it right now, because with all you've learned, your level of thinking, your lessons right now, you're now the person that can actually handle it and make a change now. So don't ever think that you're behind, because I truly believe that what is for you cannot miss you as long as you are open to what comes in and you are willing to let go what's not for you, even if it's scary. And guess what? It's going to be a little scary, but that's part of the fun. Like, what's the worst that can happen, really? And if you have those negative thoughts coming out, again, to ask your brain, what's the worst that can happen? Come on, tell me, brain, what's the worst that can happen? A lot of the time you're gonna be surprised that we felt such intense fear that it was like controlling our entire day, but then like your brain didn't even know how to answer what the worst thing that could happen is. It's like, that does say a lot about the fears that we let control our lives. We don't have evidence. We don't even have evidence that thing is going to happen. Now, once you start asking your brain for the evidence, that's when things really, really change. But again, get clear on your desires, that version of yourself you desire to be. Really, the personality is what's going to shift you into your new reality. Personality is the thoughts that you think, the feelings that you feel, and the way you behave. Those are the things you could change. That's your personality. That's going to be what shifts you into this new reality. How you think, how you act, and how you feel. So that's the most important thing to get clear on as far as this version that you want to be. Because every single time a disturbance comes up, every single time you're in a situation that with someone who's triggering you or pressing you, and you really want to show that you are ready to be this new version of you, once you can not only get clarity on who you want to be, but you can actually start embodying that, the universe rewards you. And the universe will test you. The universe will challenge you to make sure that you can embody the things that you are learning. It is not just about learning, because it's useless unless we can integrate it, right? And I swear the universe is super intelligent. The universe will test you right when you think, I've learned these lessons. I'm doing pretty good. The universe is going to be like, I've got an idea, and see it as a challenge. See it as something you can totally handle. See it as a fun game that's coming up. Like, play with it and play in how you perceive these challenges, because I promise you, one day, with sticking with this work, everything is going to change, and it's going to be so much quicker than you thought it could happen. Time is non-linear. We think that time and success has to go through this entire 10-year journey. Guess what? No, it doesn't at all. We don't know anything about the truth of how the universe works. We only know what we have experienced in our personal experiences so far. So live in that place of assuming that miracles can happen for you and that they're working on it. All of your miracles and blessings and desires are actually already on their way to you. The universe just chose snail mail, so there's a little bit of a delay. Please allow 7 to 10 business days for your desire to reach you. Start to just assume that it's on its way. And guess what our views are at? 111. I'm telling you, there is no coincidence, guys. And the moment you start having fun with those little synchronicities that show up just like that one, it's interesting because we were just talking about synchronicities. And then one literally pops up. This is proof that when we start to play with the universe and have fun and just trust, I'm telling you, it will do everything that it can to surprise you. And it will, okay? And it's cool that we all get to be on this journey together. And I'm telling you, the people, the communities that you surround yourself with, you pick up on their energy, and having people to celebrate your wins with. Now it gets them looking for their wins, you're looking for your wins, and now you actually have a place to report your wins and celebrate with people. It's all about creating your own unique little universe. How you want to live. Again, shit fucking happens in the world that's scary, that we can't control, and I totally get that. But what if I told you that all you can control is your universe? How you think, act, and feel, how you perceive situations, how you allow yourself to process the feelings moving through you. The emotions moving through you is just energy. Everything is just energy. And things get so much easier when you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna assume that it's okay and that actually everything's fucking cool right now. And I'm actually a badass who is capable of way more than I ever thought. And I know I can handle anything that happens next, because look at everything that has come to me up until now. And look where I'm at now. You gotta be your biggest hype man. You gotta be your biggest hype man. And I promise you, once you start becoming your biggest hype man, that voice is going to be your hype man. We've just lived our whole life, being critical of every single thing that we do, how we look, how we act. In school, kids are evil when you're in school. Even starting at preschool, we're trained to be this left brain, critical, just worrier. And guess what? Worry never changed any outcome ever. And you deserve to be happy. You deserve to have a super magical fun day, because guess what? You'll never get this exact day back. Ever. You'll never get this exact unfolding moment back. And so often people are like, what's the shitty part of this situation? Let me just try to see everything that's going wrong. You can totally live the opposite way and be like, if I had to look, even if I have to look really close, what is one magical thing about this moment? Just practice being in the game. That's all this comes down to, is getting out of the gap into the game and supporting yourself with where you're at. That's all that it is. But start asking yourself, it might be hard to see, but what is something really magical about this moment? And just like the gratitude, it will start to stack. There will be a domino effect. And just like there can be a domino effect of positive thoughts, positive feelings, there can be a domino effect of opportunities, amazing feelings, abundance, and truly everything that you've allowed yourself to dream of. Things can't truly exist in your reality until you've allowed yourself to imagine them and believe that it's a possibility. Like, your beliefs, that's your paintbrush for your reality. You get to play with it in however way you want. You get to choose the quirkiest, funnest, most powerful beliefs just based on the person that you want to be. Who you want to be. Not who you were taught to be, who you think you should be, who they want you to be. Like, fuck all of that. Your mind has the potential to think and imagine literally anything that you allow it to. Think of a big pink mansion right now. Think about a big pink mansion in the middle of a meadow forest with pink elephants on the property. You see, that was like totally nonsense, but I have the power to think it. What can we do with that power? Think about all of the things that we can do with that power. And Neville Goddard's book, like we were talking about, the feeling is the secret. How you feel in the moment, that is what creates the future moment you will be in next. How you feel. And I promise you, like, if you can be grateful for the things you desire before you even receive it, that's abundance. Being grateful that it even exists. Being grateful that you're even in a timeline where a reality like that exists. When you see people that have the life that you desire, there's no reason to feel competitive or jealous or sad that it didn't happen to you. The universe is showing you proof that it's real. The universe is showing you evidence that you can have it too. If one person can have it, you can have it too. It shows that it is real. It shows that it exists on your timeline. And if you see other people with the desires that you want to bring into your life, guess what? It might be a sign that you're starting to actually align with it because now you see it. You see other people have it. It's kind of like your dream car. Let's say you want a Mercedes or something, and all of a sudden you're like thinking about this car a lot, and now all of a sudden you start seeing all these different Mercedes on the road, right? You start to just meet people that have them, and you're like surrounded by them, and you don't want to be like, oh, why does everyone around me have it, and why am I seeing this everywhere, but it's not mine? You're now putting yourself back into a limited world where you're in scarcity, when the universe was just proving you that you can surround yourself with an idea that you have. Everywhere you look, you can find evidence that your idea is real. That's the gain in the experience. Again, our brain's tricky. It tries to put us in the gap of like, oh, everybody has this but me. Our job is to actually switch on the gain and be like, wow, look at how abundant this idea that I have is. It's surrounding me. I'm seeing it everywhere. This is proof that not only can I have it, but I'm surrounded in this opportunity. I'm telling you, how you see the situation becomes the truth. Truly. So, are the pink elephants cute? Yes, I wish I had. Let me see. Oh, I actually have one of them here. Here's one of them. I have a rose quartz pink elephant. This one, I'm not sure what type of crystal or stone this is, but anytime I see a pink elephant now, I get it, because that's my sign that I'm in alignment, and that also it's just my reminder that what I create can manifest. Now, anytime I see a pink elephant, I'm listening more closely, because that's really my sign from the universe that it means so many things for me. I'm telling you, like when I'm looking for a confirmation, and that shows up, if it just shows up, I just start looking for a magical moment, because it just, that pink elephant, that symbol, the meaning that I have given it feels so powerful to me. Now, what meaning are you going to give the experiences that happen to you? Again, don't brush off your synchronicities. Don't brush off your wins. Every single win, I want you to start keeping track of every single win and see how many wins you can get in a day. Really, try to fit them all in. See every single thing as a win. And I want to see how many things showed up for you just in the first time of tracking your wins. I promise you, you will look forward to doing this work because it will start to open you up more and more and more to knowing that, oh wow, everything I desired, I was actually sitting right in the middle of it. And I just had my eyes closed. I take 1111 as one of my signs. It's my favorite angel number. See, there you go. There you go. Start creating these positive meanings and positive assumptions with the things that are happening in the unfolding moment around you. And I promise you, you will experience such a reality shift that even you will wonder how it happened. Should have heavens, thank you for being you and doing what you're doing and sharing your experiences. Thanks, Christopher. Thanks for joining. I just love you guys, and I'm so excited to chat with you guys today because this has been really coming up for me. And as soon as we start believing that we are made for what we desire, there's a reason we desire it. It's because we were the person who was made for it. And once you start owning that, once you start unapologetically owning that, you will get evidence over and over that you are the person that is meant for it. And it came to you at just the perfect time. Truly. I love you guys. I hope that this was helpful. And again, if you aren't in the Telegram chat, please feel free to join. Eric, if you're here, do you mind posting the Linktree link? So I'm getting my website finished, so thank you guys so much for your patience. Soon everything is going to be on the website, but right now I'm using Linktree, thanks Eric, and that has the links to my YouTube channels, the Telegram community. If you have questions or an experience to share, there's a form on there where I'll use it for either a podcast episode or videos. I have a few links on there. So yeah, check them out. Oh, and I just released some new merch. Oh, I have another thing to show you guys too. So yeah, I just released new designs on the Dream Shop. So definitely let me know what you guys think. And do you guys remember my brother that I discovered through Ancestry DNA? Well, he has a super cool friend who makes traditional Native American dream catchers out of seed beads. And he taught my brother his method. And I told my brother that you guys would really, really like these dream catchers. He makes them. I infuse them. And I want to include little dream packages with these dream catchers. They're kind of all for different things, and I'm going to show you them right now. I'm just getting them organized. They're so beautiful, and so these are something that's going to be offered on my website too when it's done. So, and he actually has one. I don't know where it is right now, but he actually wove "Are You Dreaming" in the bottom of the dream catcher, so he can make custom orders for dream catchers, and we already have a ton that are made. So I wanted to show you guys some of them. Again, I'm going to post pictures later. These are all handmade. They're super beautiful. They have a little clippable loop on here, so you can either hang it on something, tie it to something. He makes tons of sizes too. He makes really, 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 really like miniature ones, which I told him would be great for like car. He can make earrings out of them, necklaces, bookmarks, tons of stuff. Hello, Aram. Here's this one I really like. And this middle one, I don't know if you see, but the middle one's twisted. It has two tassels twisted all the way down. And they look like little raindrops on the end. Okay. And I have more. These are just the ones that I have with me right now. And you want to You want to see some fucking cool shit, dude? I freaked out when I saw these. I was like, no way. Dude, look. He made a hummingbird with beads. Oh, I didn't even know it's a little heart on his chest. And then this one's the one that I love. Little owl. Look at this shit, dude. They could be our little spirit guides. How cool. And you can even program these, just like you can program anything in reality. You can program these to be your good luck charm or your abundance charm. Or when you carry this around, like magical moments just find their way to you. There's so many ways to use energy. And I found that using them in dream catchers and weaving intentions into them is super powerful. I've always wanted to learn how to make dream catchers, and I'm finally gonna learn. They're just so beautiful and magical to me and just have the most beautiful energy. So these are just some of the ones that he has made so far. Again, he's sent me several to show you guys. And again, a lot of them are in boxes still because I haven't fully unpacked everything since moving, but I'll have to find all of them and show you guys. But yeah, if you guys ever have an idea for dream catchers, maybe you want one made with specific colors, maybe you want a super tiny one, whatever it is, if any of these resonate with you or anything, I know my brother would love to create them for you, and I would also love to have you reach out and tell us your idea, or if there's any that you see that you would like, reach out and let me know. But yeah, I'm going to put these on my website. We should be able to have a pretty good stock going by the time my website is up. But yeah, if you do purchase one of these, I do want to create little dream packages for them. Maybe there's one on dream recall, so I would leave you maybe an extra little bracelet, maybe a couple little gemstones in there, maybe a little booklet of affirmations for dream recall, whatever it is. I just want to find a way to package up little dream goodies with a specific intention based on what you're needing in your practice, in your dream practice. So yeah, he makes them. I do the energy infusions. If I ever think that a dream catcher needs some cool crystals on the end of the tassels or anything, that's basically my job, to prepare them before they're packaged, and then yeah, I'll mail them out to you. And yeah, I've been excited to show you guys these for a while. And yeah, these are the ones we have currently so far. So I just wanted to show you guys before I head off. Isn't it so cool? It's so cool. Can you make white-throated sparrows or rainbow butterflies? Absolutely. Absolutely, Tiffany. Oh, that's such a cool idea. And that's so funny you mentioned that, because he just got a seed bead book on butterflies and flowers and stuff like that. So yeah, he can make 3D things like that. That'd be kind of cool. Shelby. Yep, he sure does. But yeah, so thanks for checking them out. Thanks for looking. And then again, these aren't on my website yet because my website isn't done, but just shoot me a message on Telegram, shoot me an email. I'm pretty easy to reach, so yeah, but it will be more smooth sailing in the future with taking orders for these. But anyways, guys, I love you. That is basically all I have today. Tiffany, if you are interested, by the way, feel free to join Telegram, and you can always message me personally, or send me an email, and I will, if you have an idea, then I'll pass it on, and we'll get something made for you. Shelby, I've been streaming for 1 hour and 34 minutes. Where have you been? Yeah, I also was slightly late, but Shelby, if you were in the Telegram chat, I did let everyone know. Okay guys, I promise you, I'm not mean, Shelby. We've been IRL besties for almost 13 years. How cool is that? And I just moved away from Shelby, so now we're long distance friends. You will have to come up and hang out sometime though, Shelby, for real. But anyways, thanks for looking at these beautiful little creations. I just wanted to show you guys before I head out. But again, remember how powerful you are. Remember that your fears are coming up for a reason. And once you become aware of them and show your brain the evidence how everything actually is working out for you, I promise you, you will start to affirm that belief in every single thing that you experience. I love you guys. You're very powerful. Can't wait to see you again. And as always, I'm sending you endless love and endless lucidity. And I will see you next time.